Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry. Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle back here live with Keith Engle with TGI Sports Talks Sunday stream of consciousness. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen you guys as we've been away. Jack didn't want to talk too much about our Alaska trip on the last show, but we can talk about our tremendous trip to Alaska if you like. As long as everything else going on in sports, as I'm trying to get myself back up to speed, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I'll run down a few things here in just a minute, but we want to welcome everybody on the McGrath Podcast Network, watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the groups that allow us to share. You see some of our favorites. We still need to add a few to our scroll, or I guess I got to make another scroll to kind of intersplice here. But John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities. I had nothing to do with the Joe Namath discussion previously, John, just to be clear. Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, The Love of Baseball, Flo and Can over at Bottom Line Sports, and Christopher, I guess I should include. Let's Talk Sports, Tanner D and the gang over there. Ken Krause at Golf Bud Sports of all sorts. Taylor over at the Michigan Truth Podcast. We want to give him a shout out. Does some great stuff over there. Does a lot of great play-by-play work, too, if somebody's looking for a play-by-play guy. And a quick shout-out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland, specifically the Sports Corner with Smoking Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Lots to talk about today, guys. We'll get into some baseball. The Red Sox are on 12 in a row. Maybe I should stay gone for Red Sox fans. Yankees still struggling along. Not good news on Aaron Judge this week. They're only 18-20 without him. He's still not coming back for the foreseeable future. The Dodgers still hold the best record in baseball. The All-Star game was a joke, as always. I'm sorry. 27 strikeouts and 24 outs. The game sucks right now, guys. Read some of the articles I put up from my good friend Kevin Kernan, former writer for the New York Post, currently writing for the baseball group there. God darn it. I'll get you your what is that? Ball9.com. Sorry. Thank you. I knew I'd get it eventually. And Jared, and another guy taken out while I'm gone, or just before I left, I guess, maybe it's I think it was just before the All-Star break. Jared Jones, with the Pirates, pitching a perfect game after 77 pitches. I don't get it. The World Cup has been, listen, I'm not a soccer fan. We know that. World Cup, you start watching, and it was impossible to get away from on our cruise ship. A lot of Europeans there. A lot of fans of England, a lot of fans of Argentina. Argentina's had a great run through this tournament, come back in nearly every game they played, at least the bigger games. So we can talk a little bit about that. An interesting picture I saw yesterday of Messi and what's the kid's name from Yamal from Spain, holding him when he was a baby in 2007. How can you make this stuff up? We can talk about the meaningless consolation game yesterday. Jack, we'll talk about it probably tomorrow morning more, but Jack thought this was a great historic game, man, and I don't get it. Playing for third place. And Mbappe takes the goal lead over Messi in a meaningless game. Ridiculous. What else? WNBA, the coach of the Toronto team, Bordello, I think is her name, was suspended for making comments about Angel Reese, calling her protected species. This is a racist remark. This is basically what we're being told. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not sympathetic enough. I don't know. Maybe somebody can straighten me out on that. The WNBA keeps making more news off the court, whether it's Angel Reese or whether it's Caitlin Clark. I feel like while I was away, I heard some comments that the Liberty coach had about Caitlin Clark. I don't get it. NFL. Ryan Gold, an executive for the Cardinals, suspended for gambling. We're on the precipice, guys, I think, of a major gambling scandal in one of these sports. It's been working around the peripheral of all these sports. And we're talking about the NBA, college basketball and football, Major League Baseball with the Cleveland pitchers last year. Now it's executives in the NFL, player personnel executive. LeBron hasn't made up his mind yet. Golf. Sam, if you're interested in golf, I got the British Open on now. Sam Burns hasn't started yet. He's -10 and leading. Scheffler's played really well today. Cam Young's played really well today early. Cam Young's putting for another birdie. Short birdie, and he makes it to go to 8 under. He's about 7 under today or 6 under today. Tremendous. And what else do we have here today? College football, I don't think we have a lot, but we'll be back with the huddle. We're on hiatus for a little bit, but probably August 5th, we'll probably be back with that. But it's your show. You can talk about anything you want, guys. We've been off a couple of weeks. I guess we missed one show. Great to be back. Rick, we had a great time. I got to tell you, man, you want to go somewhere different. So our vacations almost have always been warm weather, Caribbean, partying up, relatively speaking. I'm an old man. This is a different trip. We're going to be taking a bunch of these trips. We're going to Alaska. We're going to Europe next spring. Back to the Caribbean the next 2 trips. But next spring we're going to go to we're going to Europe. We've got a Hawaiian cruise scheduled, I think, late next year. We have a river cruise scheduled in fall of 28. I think it's fall. Maybe it's spring. But I got to tell you, Alaska, cleanest air I've ever smelled, by the way. And I come home to the smoky air-filled. And listen, we're not the only ones suffering here. But yesterday was maybe the worst air quality day of my entire life. Jesus. So anyway, we're back. We had a great time. If you saw some of the pictures, and if you didn't see them, go to my personal Facebook page. And if you're not a friend me, because some of the pictures don't do it justice. It's breathtaking. We're up at 4:00 in the morning to see us going into the first inland passage that we went into. We were off the ocean into these narrow, wider than that, but into these narrow passages, but deep water. And you can see, listen, I took pictures of, they were busting my chops with some of the icy pictures I took, but it's chunks falling off the glacier because we got in and the ship, we're on the starboard side. We're on our balcony. As the ship came around, you see this huge glacier up into the mountain, all up into the mountain. I showed you the pictures. And we saw 6 or 7 glaciers while we were up there. Whales. Just had a blast. But we can talk that. We can talk sports. We can talk whatever you want. Good morning, Paul Espada. Good to have you with us out there in Wisconsin. Danny Fuller, good morning out in sunny LA, I hope. Feels like LA here. Jeez. Good to have you with us. Dodgers still with the best record in baseball. Yeah, and they did away with it too for a reason, Danny. The third, it's a good point. I brought it up. They don't play that game anymore. You know why? Because nobody cared. I remember those days. It's only been gone maybe, 20 years? Only 20, 25 years. But nobody cared. I mean, I can't tell you who finished third in any given year. Rutgers went to the Final Four one year in 1976. I know they got beaten in a consolation game. I don't remember by who. Might have been UCLA. Actually, now that I think about it, Danny. But who remembers these things? I mean, do we care about the third place game between England and France? England gets ahead 4-0. They get ahead because, guys, the players don't care. I guarantee, again, I saw a lot of Europeans on this cruise, and they were going nuts over these games. Let me tell you, the England fans, I don't think they were looking forward to any consolation game after losing that game to Argentina the way they did. If you want to talk World Cup, that's what we should be talking about. That tremendous semifinal game between England and Argentina, and Argentina's tremendous comebacks throughout this tournament. And Messi now is a goal behind in the total goals for the tournament to this Mbappe. How do you say his name? Not enough Smith and Jones in soccer. But now he's got to score 2 goals today to take the lead again because a meaningless consolation game yesterday. I think Jack probably cared more than anybody from France or England even cared, quite frankly. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my take is totally wrong. That long ago, 40 years? Holy moly. I'm not going to argue with you, Danny, because you're probably right. Now I got to find out. See, this is the problem with the internet, is I can find out anything. And I do. When did the NCAA, well, maybe if I spelled it right, stop playing? This is exciting, isn't it? It's almost like waiting for the outcome of an ABS striker ball. It's kidding, Danny. Good call. NCAA permanently discontinued third place consolation game in 1981 after Virginia beat LSU. I couldn't even tell you who that was. I know who won in 81. It was North Carolina. Good morning, Matt. I got to give a shout out to Matt. I came home and we got like 2 weeks worth of mail. And I got a brand new batch of beautiful Yankee and Patriot cards. Just my favorite. Bobby Mercer. Great job. I got a bunch of Mattingly's. I got a bunch of Judges. I got Willie Randolph. I got who else did I get here? Winfield, Bernie. Bunch of Mattingly's. Love that. Jason Dominguez is in there, actually. Patriots, we got Steve Nelson. We got some great stuff. And by the way, Matt sent me this as well. I don't know if you remember this. This jogged such a memory for me, Matt, of getting these coins as well when I was a kid. Bobby Mercer coin. If I remember right, Matt, wasn't there did we get these and wasn't there like a cardboard that we would put them all in? Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I had tons of these as well when I was a kid, but that's the Bobby Ray Mercer. Isn't that awesome? Thank you, Matt. You are the best, my friend. That's the difference. Tell me in America where you see the support and the amazing almost live and die you do in soccer. There's nothing like it in other countries. I don't disagree with that, right? And again, I think we all know my feelings about soccer in general. It's the ruinization of Western civilization. Maybe some hyperbole there. But it's hard not to get wrapped up in it. I sat here before we went on vacation. My stepson was in town with his wife, and he wanted to watch the soccer. And I went on about the flopping and the histrionics, and it looks like they got to be put down every time they get hurt because they're going to die right there in the field. And then I ended up watching. After they left, they went to the lake with his sister and husband, and I got just all wrapped up in the Argentina Cape Verde, I think, game, and it was exciting as hell. That was before I left. If you remember, we talked about it, I think, the last time we did this show. And my wife was like, I thought you hated this game. You get wrapped up. And I will tell you, when you're with other people from other countries, like on a cruise ship, you're always, doesn't matter where you go out of. You go out of Florida, you go out of New York, now you go out of Seattle. There's tons of people from European countries or South America. And they are rabid fans. These guys were, I haven't seen a Super Bowl crowd like these people watching the game in the casino bar. Amazing. Amazing. Make sure it's college football. I was going to say, make sure you let them know it's college. Those are hellos. Oh God, it's crazy how they go nuts for their football. I got to tell you again, Paul, in some instances, it's more rabid. Again, obviously, people get in the Super Bowl and they're rooting for teams or rooting for pools or rooting against teams, whatever. I mean, it gets rabid, but I'm telling you, these fans are nuts because there's nothing going on. Remember, in a Super Bowl, there's stuff happening all the time. Every play, even if it's a scoreless game, there's still defense being played, guys getting hit, turnovers. In soccer, there's a lot of time where there's nothing going on. But these fans are on the edge of their seats. God bless them. I mean, again, I'm not a huge fan. I'm a fan every 4 years when you see this type of stage. And maybe I got to give the game more of a chance. I don't know. I try. It never carries over for me from like the World Cup to go watching MLS soccer or something. And I've rooted for Argentina because, I root for guys I know. I like Messi. And this is probably Messi's last opportunity on this stage. Guys, do me a favor as we watch the audience grow this morning. Do me a favor, because engagement means a lot. If you're not following the show, I think all of you guys are, follow the TGI Sports Talk page. And do me a favor, go to TGI Sports Talk or YouTube. You can do it on my personal page, but I prefer it, if you can, to like and share the show from TGI Sports Talk. Go to that page and watch the show from there. I don't mind the views on my personal page, but for optimizing the show itself, it's better if we're on either. And again, at some point, I'm probably going to try to transition this to YouTube, but it hasn't worked out so far. You're not right. Watching me, I was hoping Danny made this comment, Paul. Watching me type is like waiting for the ball strike call from ABS. I don't have a Posada card. I might have a Posada card here somewhere. Again, I have the cards, and you can see them behind me on my wall of fame behind me. I've got some of my cards distributed out on top of some of the pictures and whatnot. I like to have them behind me. I decorated my Christmas tree that was behind me this year with baseball and football cards. Thank you, Matt. You're the best, buddy. It was a great surprise to come home because, I get very little mail because everything I do is electronic. My Medicare bill was the second most exciting thing I got besides Matt. It was nice to get this package. Again, that's a nice selection of cards there on top of all the other ones he sent me. They're all over the walls here. I got a couple of Bobby Mercers in front of me. I got another stack here. Plus, I keep this one here to keep me centered and not ripping Joe Namath for our good friend John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities. You notice Danny, you notice I tried to stay on the peripheral of that conversation a little bit this morning until I got sucked into it. Right? It was before your time, young man. I loved these coins when I was a kid. I had hundreds of these. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a cardboard something or other. And it might have been for like All-Stars or something. It's not an All-Star, is it? I think for whatever year they were doing it, you could like fill in all the gaps for all the All-Stars once you got the coins. It was kind of cool. And Bobby was an All-Star 3 times. Coins were 71. Is that Bobby in 71? Boy, I'm old, right? 1960, my friend. Ooh. I've been saying I'm 66 because I say that from the time we turned the year. Once we hit my birth year, or the new year, I'm in my new birth year, right? So I was born in 60. So I'm been in my 66th year, I always say. But I will officially be 66 in, I don't know, roughly 26 days. Danny likes Spain today. I'm just listening. I don't. Spain would appear to me to be the better team. Argentina has had to make dramatic comebacks. At least through this knockout stage. And it's been fun to watch. They're never out of a game. What, they scored 2 goals? In the final couple minutes the other day against England, the last 5, I had to go down and play in a poker tournament. Won some nice moolah. I keep finishing second in these Texas Hold'em tournaments on the ships. And I won on whatever day England played Argentina. I don't remember the day. Just had a really great run. So anyway, I didn't see the end of that game because I had to go start playing poker. To me, it's like watching paint dryer, Danny following what keeps... What? The more I watch baseball, the more I love ABS. Again, whatever. To each his own. Again, I want to be clear, Danny. We're on the same page that we want the calls to be right. But this whole challenge thing is ridiculous. If you want to just take the umpires out of the game, take them out of the game. Don't tell me. Well, again, it's your opinion, so you're entitled to it. You'll never convince me, let me put it that way, ever, that's exciting. Sitting there, again, when the World Series comes, man, and that last out is determined by ABS challenge or play at the plate, and we think we just had a great walk-off, and it turns out to be, whatever. Again, there's 100 scenarios that could happen where AI will determine the winner of the World Series, and that will be so exciting. Just like Kirk Gibson when he won game 1 against the Mets, or Joe Carter won a walk-off a series-winning home run. It'll be just as exciting as all of that. No, you're not going to convince me of that, ever. Rick's got 2 Posada bobblehead dolls from Yankee game he went to. I don't have any bobbleheads. I tended not to go to giveaway days because, again, too many crowds. Non-fans. Not you, Rick, but non-fans. But I had so much memorabilia back in the day, and through circumstances of life, a lot of them have been lost. So Matt has done a great job of sending me some stuff that rekindles those memories. I think I told you guys that I've taken to reading. I've gone to the sporting news because I was a big sporting news fan when I was a kid. My mom and dad were split up when I was young. And when I would see my dad on the weekends, and Rick, I think you'll remember this place in Amsterdam, Trash Cigar Store. We'd go in there and he'd get me the Sunday paper because I'd love to go through the box scores and the leaders because we didn't have the internet when I was, 11. But we get the paper with a giant sports section, look through all the averages and all that stuff. And I'd get the sporting news every week. Well, I've taken to going, I went to the website because they don't print the book anymore or the paper anymore. And it was great in the 70s. So I've gone back and I've started reading all these old issues online. That's how exciting my life is. Matt says in those games I watched the foreign fans, in those games I watched, those foreign fans treated the games like it was a game, always cheering and such. Oh, I see. Treated the game as. Listen, I will tell you, right? They do treat it as a game, but these people, when you read about soccer or any sport that has huge following, huge popularity, where there might be a lot of money involved, not necessarily the World Cup, which I'm sure there's money involved. There's still drama behind the scenes, right? People are arguing about coaches, man, what are they called? Are they coaches? They're managers, aren't they? I don't even know. What the soccer clubs call their. I should know this from Ted Lasso. But there's still the same, the same drama behind the scenes about players and coaches. But they're rabid, man. They care. They care. You've told me how exciting it is. This is why I said it. Again, that is not the same as somebody making a game-winning free throw. You seriously are telling me that watching that screen, waiting to see if it's a ball or a strike is exciting as a game-winning free throw or three-pointer or a tap-in? That's exciting as OG tip with the tip after the dramatic comeback by the Knicks. Waiting for a ball and strike call on the scoreboard with a little cartoon. I'm not comparing apples and oranges. Oh, you're saying it's not. Maybe I'm misreading what you said. But in the past, you said it's exciting to watch that scoreboard. That's not exciting. Getting a call right might be exciting to you. I'm not comparing apples and oranges. Because again, maybe my memory is failing me, because it does. I'm going to be very old. And I'm breathing in a lot of dirty air right now. I don't find the trade-off worth it. I don't find the trade-off of disrupting the game to be worth it. I just don't. Not going to either. With that, yeah, I should get rid of the umpires. I agree. I don't know. Something like that is fine. And the umpires got together and corrected the call. Well, that's fine. They got the call right. I'm not against replay per se, right? But we're replaying every single aspect, which you're literally doing. Every single aspect, or every single play of a baseball game is tedious. Well, I guess not every single play, because once you're out of challenges, you're out of challenges. And the umpires should be held accountable by losing their jobs if they don't do them well. The Angel Hernandezes of the world shouldn't have been protected. And I'm sorry. Dale Scott, my good friend Dale Scott up there in Oregon, longtime Major League umpire. I know he doesn't like the umpire bashing that goes on a lot of the sites. I think he might have dropped out of Greg Rawlings' America's Pastime Group. I don't know. Dale, if you see this, I'm sorry. But you as a very good, highly thought of Major League Baseball umpire, should be bothered by the fact that the Angel Hernandezes of the world are able to just keep their jobs for decades and not be any good at it. Because it affects the way all of you are viewed. Because there are some very good, very, very good umpires through the years. And I'll mention Dale Scott again as being one of them. And I hate to see them just go away, because the human element is everything in sports. To me, you're going to replace the umpires to fix the human element. What the next era of people that come along will want to fix the human element in baseball, so we don't have errors anymore. Errors shouldn't happen in any sport. So we'll just play on computers. Why don't we play the whole game on computers? That way it's perfect. Nothing can go wrong. Oh, till it does. Rick just won a Deion Sanders bobblehead doll as an Albany Yankee. He did play here when the Yankees were playing out by the airport. I can't remember the name of the field now. He used to go there a lot. By the way, a lot of great players came through here. Derek Jeter came through here. Bernie Williams came through here. Deion, not a good ball player. But we saw a lot. Andy Pettit pitched here. Ron Guidry pitched here on injury rehab. Was there that night. They had about 40,000 people in a 10,000 seat stadium. It starts way before their anthem, where players and fans sing the anthem and stand for it to the final play of the game. It's just amazing, something we lack in America. Well, I mean, listen, we should stand for our anthem. But you don't think, again, go to college. Danny, you're a college football fan. I think the atmosphere in the World Cup is very similar to the energy you see on a college football campus on a Saturday. I think that's a fair analogy, is it not? That's the rabid type fandom that you see with the World Cup. That's the only thing I can compare it to. But I guess, I mean, you're on your feet because there's so little going on that you never know when something's actually going to happen. There was actually some decent action in that Argentina-England game. It was all down the Argentina end, though. I mean, you just knew they were going to score. When it was 1-0, you knew Argentina was going to score. They had chance after chance after chance, and England played no offense. They were content to play in Argentina's end the whole time. Listen, I don't pretend to understand the game. I understand you can't score a goal from there, though. Yep, before the web, reading the papers box. It wasn't it great? I don't read the box scores the way I used to. Because we see so many highlights and we hear all about the games, right? Or I can click on one. It'll never be the same. And somebody who never grew up with newspapers is never going to understand Matt, Danny, Rick, Paul. You guys all understand this. Reading the box scores on a Sunday or even any day, I guess. I mean, in the local newspaper, we would still get the box scores. Not all of them. I get Yankees, Mets, and Red Sox or something in the local Amsterdam Recorder when I was a kid. But reading the box scores in the newspaper was so much different because I would read into every freaking detail of that box score. Because I couldn't see the games. I might hear the Yankee games on the radio when I went to bed at night. But it was such a simpler time, man. I mean, I get very nostalgic. I like the technology. I like technology. But a lot of me just yearns for a simpler time. And that wouldn't include ABS, just because. Hello, CA. Good to have you with us. U.S. town, did you all enjoy it? Which town? When we were away? You want to expand the shows? We can still talk about doing. Yeah, we should do something. What is that? We can still talk about doing through your visiting segments of other shows to offer your perspectives. I'm not sure I entirely follow CA, but I'm trying. We'll certainly revisit this. I've been busy. I know you got busy. I got busy, and I certainly want to push the YouTube side of this whole thing at some point before I die. It's been busy, man. And if you're asking what town, I think you're asking me which town I enjoyed the most. I think it was Skagway. Skagway was awesome. I didn't bring that hat down with me. I got a great new hat. We took the locomotive. It's an old restored. It's the original locomotives they used when they were gold mining, and also they built a railroad through the mountains. So we went into the Yukon in Canada. So we crossed the border and came back into Skagway, and the views through the mountainsides. I took some pictures; they're just amazing. I got a couple of good shots of the front of the train, on a turn on the tracks and the mountains behind it. It was so cool. And what else did we do there? Went to an old cemetery there. Juneau was great. We went whale watching in Juneau and went to the one of the glaciers. I can't remember the name of it now. But we saw 6 glaciers. So Juneau was cool. We had to go. The whale watching was the best part of that. We went back out in the ocean, and it's hard to catch whales in action, but I got a couple of good shots of the tail fins. My sister-in-law actually got the tail fins when they went on a deep dive, and I got a couple of dorsal shots on a video. And I just missed a double blow. There was two of them. There was a mother and a calf with her, and there was a double blow, and then they did the dorsal, and I just missed the double blow. It was really cool. So Skagway was probably my favorite stop, I think. Ketchikan was the first stop. Ketchikan was interesting as well. So all of it. I mean, it was just, the sights were amazing. Community, it was a pleasure today. I got that I got to take off. I won't be commenting. Oh, you got to take off. I won't be commenting. I'll be listening while I'm driving in my car. Paul, we appreciate you making the effort for sure, my friend. I didn't say I enjoyed it. Getting caught. I didn't say. I don't even know if you're in the minority, Danny. Again, you're entitled to that opinion, and so are the other people. If it's the majority of the people, God bless them. I'm happy to be in a minority. I've been in that group for a long while in a lot of areas. I just again, I again, sports is often a microcosm of life itself, in my mind. Not everybody sees it the way I do. My wife doesn't see it that way. But we're losing the humanity in everything that we do. I don't know what's real and not real when I look at social media anymore. It used to be just pictures that were photoshopped. Now it's whole videos. I can't tell whether they're real or not. And sports is going to become the same way. I don't want to rely on technology for my sports. If I have to, I have to. I mean, I'm not. It's already, the game already sucks bad enough, by the way. Now I'll go on a total tirade. And I'm not in the minority. I'm not. I know I'm not. I may be in a silent majority. My good friend Kevin Kernan, who I've had on the show several times in the past, not in a while. I think I'm going to get Kevin on so that we can have this little conversation straight out, because I know you disagree with a lot of, or at least one aspect of one of Kevin's articles recently. But if you read Kevin's articles in ball9.com, you're going to see all the things that I rail about this game that sucks. The fact that we just watched an all-star game with 27 strikeouts out of 54 outs. It's unwatchable. At least we didn't have to watch it end in a home run derby. And I know the one comment you had, Danny, about, I know this is a little different because not what your comment is necessarily about. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. When he was talking about Ohtani leading off, and, you know, again, this isn't brand new. I mean, Whitey Herzog did it with George Brett and Hal McRae back in the 70s with the Royals. He had his best two hitters at the top of the lineup to get him more at-bats. And I know your comment was that Ohtani got, I don't know how many more at-bats. But again, to me, I would want him up more with guys on base. Right? I mean, he hits 50 home runs. What's his top RBI year? I'd want the guy up driving in more than himself, is my point. And I know they won the World Series, and you can't argue with that. But that's the lineup thing isn't the biggest thing that I have a problem with. It's all of this. The rule changes in baseball have made the game and the approach, taking guys out of games with perfect games. We've seen a plethora of that the last couple of years. This year alone, we've seen two guys taken out in the last month, less than 100 pitches thrown. Jared Jones threw only 77 pitches. Yuri Perez, I think he pitched through 7 innings, had 92 pitches. Those are perfect games. How many of those been in baseball? I get no hitters. Yeah, all right. So maybe that's not historic anymore to people. So it doesn't matter that we take them out of games. I'm a little irritable today. I'm tired. Paul's head's in the grocery store. Danny, I love you. The Open Championship, yes. Burns again has. Burns is just getting number. No, he hasn't started yet. Sorry, my bad. He's 10 under. Cam Young, 8 under for the tournament now. He started today. Where'd my leaderboard? Oh, I can't forget Ron Hunt, by the way. Where is the British Open leaderboard? I must have gone backwards. So, geez, who cares about your cookie policy? Nobody cares, man. I lost it. Except all cookies. So Cam Young, by the way, is 6 under, 5 under today. Just missed another great birdie chance just now. So it's going to be a great finish to this tournament. You got Burns at 10, Cam Young at 8. Kim is at 8. He's played well today as well. Fox is at 8. Scheffler starting to get together. He's 7 under. DeChambeau, 6 under. What a again, if you're a golf fan, you watch what went on there Friday. I think it was Friday at the Open when he got penalized 2 shots for improving his lie. He goes out there and he's arguing with those guys, and then he threatens not to come and play Saturday. Don't come and play. You obviously improved your lie. And by the way, I don't think it was. I know people are giving the benefit of the doubt that it was. It wasn't done purposely. Well, if you watch him circle around the back of his ball, which guys do, and as he walked back to his ball to take the shot, he's trampling down the grass the whole way. Just shut up. You take your 2 strokes and shut up. Bingo on the college football pregame hype, but I agree. It's as close as America gets to celebrating like other countries in soccer. I checked my emails before. Danny, I love that you can bust my balls the way you do, and we have a great sense of humor about this. Well, at least I do. I think you do as well. Back in the 80s, 90s, who could back in the 80s, 90s, who played for what team? Oh, you could tell me who played for what team? I'm not sure what you're saying there, Matt. Help me out. It was a great vacation, man. I got to tell you. One of the best. Air was so fresh. And the weather was, we managed to avoid rain. Because it's really rainy in Alaska. So we didn't really get any rain. I had shorts on the whole time. It was in the mid-50s, windy, a little bit cold one day. But we're up on a glacier in Juneau. I got cold. I put on a vest. I had just a long-sleeve wind shirt on and a T-shirt. And then I put my vest on over that, and I was warm. I wore shorts the whole time. Everybody else was frozen that I travel with because my wife and she's always cold. That's our one major disagreement in life is over the temperature of the house. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they moved to Florida and I think their blood is thin. They're frozen all the time. I never got out of my shorts. Now, I did wear a top all the time, either short or long sleeve. It was nice. I've watched very little of it. Jesus, I mean, come on. Why are we playing these games? And the guy's not going? If you're going to get picked to be an all-star and you can't show up, and by the way, I'm not leaving Cam Schleter out of this freaking conversation. Go. I don't care if you can pitch or not. Go. Or just do away with the games. There was a time I loved the All-Star game. I just told you about my love of the sporting news, right? The All-Star game was a big deal to me when I was a kid because we didn't have all these games. We didn't have Sports Center. I had a local newspaper, and my dad would get me the Albany newspapers. I got the Daily News, too. I guess I got the Daily News on a weekend, too. We didn't get the Post up here at the time. So that's the only baseball I got, the All-Star game. So I didn't see players outside of the Yankee players and some of the Met players. I didn't see them Saturday game of the week. So it was a big deal to see the All-Star game when I was a kid. It was an event. It's not an event anymore. We see these guys. We got interleague play. We had no interleague play then. So we didn't see National League players hardly ever. Maybe in a game of the week on Saturday. Monday Night Baseball. Later in my childhood. The All-Star game was an event. Now it's like a freaking something we have to endure. I didn't see much of it. Again, it was dinner time when that was on. Pretty much. Or old-fashioned time. Did gain a little weight, by the way. I had lost 40. I was down when I left. I had lost 45 pounds since I retired. I came back and I gained like 6 pounds. A couple of it's gone already. A lot of salt and stuff that I don't normally eat. So anyway, it was hard to watch. It's better to be taken out of a perfect game because the manager believes you've hit a pitch count than for an umpire to get the call wrong at first base because of perfect game. Now who's comparing apples and oranges? So again, I guess we shouldn't have managers either. We should have computers, which we basically do. You've actually hit on a great point for me to touch on, Danny. Thank you. Because not only are we going to take the umpires and that human part out of the game, we pretty much have already taken the human part of managing out of the game because everything is done on a freaking index card, probably looking at a laptop or an iPad. You know why guys get taken out of perfect games because of pitch counts? Because nobody's got a feel for the game. Every 77 pitches or 92 pitches is not the same. Jared Jones and Yuri Perez, neither one of them had a tough inning in their well, how would you? They were pitching perfect games. Nothing, they were working hard. It wasn't a hard working 92 pitches or 77 pitches. Sometimes you throw 60 pitches and you're worn out because it was a tough 60 pitches. Because of game situations. But now all decisions are made before we ever start the games. There's no feel for the game during it. So thank you for teeing that up for me. Yes. It's almost, I said it was apples to oranges. Maybe it's not. It might be apples to apples because we're taking the human element out of all of the game. Another reason I hate it. I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it. But it's not the game I grew up with. Not even close. Danny, you're the same age as me. And you like this game better than the one we grew up with? You honestly do? I got to believe some of that's just fodder for me. Thanks for mentioning Jones. Grew up with his family. Have a few of his cards too. Really, great pitcher, great young pitcher. I'll tell you what, there's some good pitchers on that staff, and the Pirates have won 4 or 5 in a row, haven't they? Or 9 and what are they? I had them up. I think they're Maybe they're 8-2 in their last 10 or something. What are they? Pittsburgh, 3 games over 500, 7-3 in their last 10. Playing some pretty good baseball. Again, that Central's playing really well. The Brewers pulling away, though. Red Sox, 12 straight wins? Who knew? Oh, I know you're happy to have me back. You get our morning started, and that's without ABS. Just so you know. Imagine if I wasn't here and you had max headroom. I'm dating myself again, right? I'm happy to be here. Even with the frustrating topics we have to cover sometimes, like the ABS. You know, I waver, Danny, and there's times I know. Sometimes I've said, you just get rid of the umpires altogether, and I'd be happier. I don't know that I would be. Again, and I will give you this much again, and I've said this. For my friend Dale Scott as well. I mean, the umpires have brought this on themselves by not policing themselves. Because there's some very good umpires who don't need ABS to correct the one call they get wrong all night. How many mistakes do players make in the course of a game? A lot, don't they? In the course of a game, a lot of mistakes get made. Some of these umpires don't miss any calls all night long, or one, or two. So a home plate umpire misses, again, Danny, I'm not telling you there aren't guys that miss a lot of calls. But to me, there's other ways to do this without taking the human element out. Train them better. Get rid of the guys who suck and replace them with guys who don't. But you're going to tell me if a guy calls 300 balls and strikes in the course of the night and misses 2, that he's done a bad job? And we need this? I don't want to talk about ABS the whole show, though. Let's get on to something else. Yeah, I thought that's what you meant. I could too. Because of because of the box scores, I think. And I'm saying 70s and 80s, but 90s I was still. Listen, I've been playing fantasy baseball, which I got to stop because I don't enjoy it anymore. I really don't. I enjoy the Stratomatic a whole lot better. Playing I got a bunch of teams live right now. Just won a championship with it's a league that you're able to use players from 2 franchises in the 70s. And I won with the Phillies and Royal combination. You still got a salary cap and whatnot, so you couldn't just have all the great players. I had a great offense. And fortunately, the middle of the road pitchers I pitched were on their best cards. So anyway, when I started playing fantasy baseball, almost 40 years ago, 39 years ago, we had to read box scores. That's how we would find out how our players did. That's how we put stats together. And yeah, I knew all the lineups. I knew everybody. I knew every entire rosters. Now I don't. Log in, scroll through the guys that are available. Linda, good afternoon or good morning. What is it? Good morning. I'm having trouble. I've had trouble since we left knowing what day or time it was. We had Seattle. We had like 3 time changes to 3 hours behind, 4 hours behind, 5 hours behind. Now traveling home, got home early Saturday morning, and it's been brutal. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But Linda, we always welcome you here. And on the Sunday Stream of Consciousness, we talk about everything. Jack hates this show, probably. Jack didn't want to talk about my Alaskan adventure, but he wanted to talk about the consolation game of the World Cup for 20 minutes. Get ready for a replay tomorrow morning, Linda. Matt, Danny's with you. You could name the starters. I could name entire teams sometimes. I agree. It's hard. I've always got to refer, when we're talking baseball here or on the MLB update. Good God. Well, I couldn't have done the show back in the 80s, right? But I wouldn't need notes. I would know every team's record. I know who was hitting what, who the starters were, who the pitchers were, who the closers were, who the kids coming up were. And then maybe it's because, and I read a lot about the games, obviously, to be able to do these shows. So I try to sound semi-intelligent. It doesn't always work out, but I do my best. But maybe I don't comprehend it as much. But I think it's the world today. Again, as we see it, it's all like put in front of us. There's so much information in front of me that I don't have time to digest it. And I don't have a paper just sitting in front of me. When I started playing fantasy baseball 39 years ago, a Sunday morning at the golf course, before I played golf, I'd go up, I had to have a little breakfast sandwich and some coffee, and I'd have those box scores in front of me, pouring over them. And I might be looking for that reliever Rod Beck is a great example, man. He was nobody when he came up. And I watched him pitch one scoreless inning, just before he was a closer. And I'm like, the Giants are going to make this guy his closer. One of the best free agent pickups I ever made because I'm winning the league that year. But I watched this guy for like a month. I tracked him every night, every game. He kept pitching scoreless innings in the 6th or 7th. Linda paid attention to the All-Star game as much as I pay attention. Hey, thank you, Linda. It's about the same amount of importance is put to both of these games. I don't think the players care. I mean, if you want to see young pitchers go out there and throw 100 miles an hour and strike out 27 guys, well, I guess that's exciting. Not to be. And I think it makes me more angry, Linda, because I used to love that game when I was younger, man. When we didn't have interleague play and 15 wild cards and every game is on TV somewhere. I love the All-Star game. I never saw Henry Aaron and Willie Mays play unless I saw him playing the All-Star game. That's just two examples, by the way. Even a bunch of guys in the American League we wouldn't see. Exciting. They are obsolete, right? They pay attention to computers instead of their gut. Unless you're booing on Friday night and you go out and take your pitcher out. He talks you into staying in and then give it. See, I know I gave Aaron Boone a hard time this morning, but at least he used his gut there. It was wrong, but at least he used his gut. So I give him a little bit of credit for that. A little. I'm not saying it was the right decision or wrong decision. Because frankly, I was traveling. I didn't see it in real time. So I don't have any. Again, the only way I can judge that is to watch the game and understand what the situation was all the way through that game until that point, whether he should come out or not. Because you can't by the way, you can't just watch highlights or that game situation and say he did the right or wrong thing. You have to have watched the whole game to have made a judgment on Aaron Boone, whether he made a right or wrong call. Just my opinion. Because again, if you've had an easy time up till then, but the fact that he lets his star talk him into saying in, I don't have a problem with. I have a lot of problems with Aaron Boone. And I joked a little bit about this morning that I'd like to see him out on one of those glaciers that we pulled up to. But that wasn't necessarily, I mean, that's a gut call. I'm happy to see him use his gut instead of a freaking computer printout once in a while. Turned out it was the wrong decision. But sometimes you have to stick with your star. Listen, I'm a guy, you go back to 2003, I know Red Sox fans hate Grady Little. I'll still tell you to this day, as a baseball fan, and I know they were playing my team, and you'll say, well, yeah, because your team won, so you can say Grady made the right call. I would tell you, as a baseball fan, growing up when I watched the game, when Grady Little went out to talk to Pedro Martinez, and my star pitcher, my horse, says, I'm okay, I'm leaving him in the game. That's what I pay that guy for. Not today's game. I'm one of the few guys I've ever talked to that think Grady Little did the right thing in 2003. Here I'm talking about a game 23 years ago. Because if Dick Williams came out and talked to Catfish Hunter in that situation in the 70s, Catfish isn't coming out of that game. Pitcher. I knew what you meant. Hell no. No, I enjoyed the 70s and 80s. I thought so. I agree 100%. I think every sport was better as well. Sometimes I think football's all right, but then, you know, the game again, all these games are, and again, Danny, part of my problem is these games are so, I don't know what the word is for it. Orchestrated. I mean, it's great to have a plan, especially in football. A game plan. Baseball, too, you need a game plan for your pitcher, your catcher. A game plan even to approach the opposing pitcher. But you can't play just based on what's on your computer printout. That's my problem with sports. And again, part of my problem with the whole stuff with umpires and whatnot is that it's a slippery slope. We let replay in for one thing. One thing. Now you can use it for almost everything. Almost. I mean, pretty soon, and the computer's laying out, oh, here's how the pitcher should pitch. This is the ultimate slippery slope. We started tracking pitches and pitchers and, you know, all these different metrics. The human element for umpires and coaches and whatnot are gone. They don't trust their gut because they never have had to make a gut decision. They let the computer decide for them. I know that guy just pitched the 8th inning and struck out 3 straight guys or got 3 straight ground balls, 3 pitches, 3 outs. Doesn't matter. He's out. I got 7th inning guy. Did that. 8th inning guy's got to come in now. Blow the game. Linda, see, we don't talk NASCAR, but I don't mind talking NASCAR now and again. If more people like Linda came in and gave me information, we'd talk more about it, and I probably could form opinions. I can't give you any opinion about Denny Hamlin or anybody else. Now, I do think NASCAR somehow is NASCAR is actually a great example. And Linda, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But NASCAR feels like the perfect example of killing the golden goose. I mean, they had an audience, and they had ratings, and they had people talking about them. I even paid attention in the 90s, early 2000s to NASCAR a little bit, not rabidly. but we don't really pay attention anymore. I think they've hurt themselves with the way they, the individual races don't seem to matter as much. Somebody who knows NASCAR can correct me or corroborate what I'm saying. But anyway, Linda talks about NASCAR's Window World 500 today. I don't even know where that is. At 7 p.m. on TNT, HBO Max, if interested. That's part of the problem, probably, is they're on HBO Max and not on NBC. Ryan Blaney is the pole leader in this race, and Denny Hamlin is the points leader. I used to enjoy talking, and I used to even be in some NASCAR pools. But it's kind of faded, and I feel like, and again, I'm sure hardcore fans are, and if Linda, you're a hardcore fan, you're still into it. When I say it's faded a little bit, I think from the casual fan, like you probably consider myself, but I don't know. So anyway, there you go. Denny Hamlin's the points leader so far. Am I wrong about what I said, Linda, or would you agree as a fan? Oh, why did I think it was Linda? I don't know how I got there, BA. I apologize. Anyway, welcome, BA. I saw McGrath and I'm thinking Linda. I don't know why. Oh. So how many comments did I put up thinking it was Linda? See, I think it's from being away. I mean, there was a time where if I saw something with McGrath on it, it was going to be Mac or Linda. I went back in time 2 years. Yeah, again, I know, and I get on Aaron Boone a lot. And even after today, when BA first brought it up, and I talked about leaving Aaron Boone on that glacier, with little context, I did back up my comments a little bit about that specific situation. Again, I'm happy to see he uses gut for a change and not just that, computer printout. We don't do enough of that. We need one guy. We need a Billy Martin to come back in. And Billy used some metrics, by the way, analytics. He used some. Just, with guardrails. Okay, Boone, overall, I'm not an Aaron Boone fan. I know Jack gets on me. What do you want him to do? I'd like him to win a World Series in 10 years. That's what I'd like. Making a playoffs year after year, except for 1 year, I guess he didn't make it. But I want to win. Call me old-fashioned. We talk about this a lot. Jack will talk about whether seasons are you're happy with seasons or not. I'm really never happy unless I win. Yeah, before the last football season, if you told me the Patriots would win 13 games and go to the Super Bowl, I would have said, oh boy, I'd sign up for that now. I would have been happy with 9-8 and competing for a playoff spot. But that perspective changes as the season goes on, and you're not as happy as you were or would have been. Look at great pitchers give up home runs. Lots of great pitchers give up home runs. You know why? Because they throw strikes. They're not afraid to throw strikes. Catfish Hunter gave up more homers than any pitcher I can remember. And I'm sure there are guys who gave up great pitchers. Sorry. Any great pitcher that I can remember. But all the greats gave up some home runs because they were around the plate all the time. They weren't afraid to throw strikes. Scripted's good. And eye test is almost obsolete. I judge everybody by the eye test, right? That was my comment about I really can't judge Boone unless I saw everything that led up to that moment. That's the eye test, right? Not the script, to use Danny's word. We hear, and I hate to use the word because if people then then people take it to think, oh, the games are scripted in the sense that a TV show or a movie is scripted. That's not what I'm talking about. Not every play is scripted out. Although some, very famously, a lot of these, smartest. What's the matter? Cat just woke up from a bad dream or something. No, some of these over, who was the first guy? Bill Walsh, right? Is the first guy probably we talked about. Oh, he scripted the first 20 plays. I'm not buying that stuff because the game after the first play, nothing plays out the same exact way. Well, it might for a few, but there's going to be something that comes up that doesn't allow you to run those scripted first 20 plays. And I got to tell you, I sometimes sit and wonder when we use that terminology, and I'm not saying you're wrong in using it, Danny, because I think it's perfectly accurate. But when we see announcers talking about scripted plays over and over, we've watched this for decades now. Bill Walsh coached 40 years ago. Geez, 40 plus years ago, almost 50. Well, when he was assistant coach with the Bengals, I think they were doing it. It wasn't talked about as much. But when he became head coach of the 49ers and became successful, we started using this fact that we scripted out the first 15, 20 plays of the game. And I think using the terminology on TV has led to some of this crazy, tinfoil hat nonsense that, the games are scripted, meaning the NFL scripts the games and tells you who's going to win or lose before we even start playing. It's crazy. It's stupid. And if you think that, please turn off my show and go watch the Flintstones or something that is scripted. This show is not scripted in any way, as you can tell by its lack of focus. By design. Really, I'm serious, guys. Anybody who thinks sports is scripted outside of the World Wrestling Association or whatever the frickin' they call it, WWE, stop. You need to stop watching the games. There's Matt. Unfortunately, once Mark Martin left, he lost interest. It's funny. Then they went to the stage, is not really interested anymore. I think that's part of what I'm talking about, right? I know BA's a fan. I think I was a bigger fan before I left the job I retired from. I was there 25 years or so. The 20 previous years I spent in the beer business, working for the largest Coors distributor in the country. And I think I got into racing a little bit more because they sponsored a car. I can't remember who drove the Coors car years ago. I want to say his number was 40. Kyle something. Not Petty. He wasn't very good. I don't think he won any races racing for Coors. But I think I was bigger into it then. Yeah, so we don't talk about, I'm assuming, and also you play your Super Bowl with your first race of the year, right? As far as I know, Daytona is still the biggest race of the year, and it's the first race of the year. So you play your Super Bowl in week 1. Doesn't seem to make sense. Yeah, see, I got Linda saying here. Sorry, Danny, I misled you. It was BA all along. I saw McGrath and I thought Linda. Anyway, Danny loved NASCAR back in the days. It's terrible today. The point system, the playoffs stink. In the 70s and 80s, went to 3 aces. I think I remember you saying that, Danny. My dad watched NASCAR when I was a young kid. So I remember watching, ABC with Bill Fleming and Chris Economaki, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can help me out. And watching the Allisons race and Richard Petty race and AJ Foyt, because I believe he raced both Indy cars and stock cars, if I'm not mistaken. And among some others. Waltrip was a kid. I remember watching those races with my dad, and it was interesting. Ralph Williams is with us. I mentioned Ralph at the top. Check out RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland. He's got a Pittsburgh focus, but a national footprint. He does the Sports Corner with Smoking Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. We've been a guest there and had lots of fun always. I believe Smoking Jim just had a birthday this week as well. Happy birthday to him. Good to see you, Ralph. Maybe we should have an automatic ball strike system here. That was an absolute, just a bit outside. In any sport, if a team isn't in the playoffs, then it wasn't an excess, in your opinion. I think even making the playoffs, right? We're heading up to the trade deadline. For instance, Matt, and if you're a baseball fan and your team doesn't have a realistic chance of winning the World Series, we talked about this earlier. BA can chime in here. He's a Tigers fan. If the Tigers don't trade Skubal, they're nuts. I know they're 3.5 out of the wild card and 6 or 6.5 behind the division. But you can't just think in terms of making the playoffs and I should go trade for guys like Skubal or keep Skubal. All these teams are going to be buyers. The Yankees, the Guardians, the Red Sox, the Mariners, the Twins, the Orioles, the Astros. The Astros and Blue Jays are 6 games under 500. Are they realistic World Series champions, even though they're 3.5, within 3.5 of the wild card? Making the playoffs isn't enough. I'm not mortgaging my future for a chance to make the playoffs. I know anything can happen, but it rarely does. I mean, if you're the Nationals, you should be selling, not buying. You're 3 games out of the playoff hunt, but do you have a real chance to win? The Reds are 7 games out. Don't buy. And by the way, you guys who haven't, by the way, here's the thing. Even if the Tigers think they have a chance to re-sign Skubal, and this goes for anybody who's got a free agent at the end of this year. If you're not a World Series contender and you think you're going to re-sign your free agent, you're nuts not to trade him for something now and then. He's going to hit the market anyway. If a guy's going to hit the open market, it doesn't matter whether you want to keep him or not. You should trade him and get something for him. You can always sign him in the offseason. We don't see teams do this enough. Yankees were smart. They did it with Chapman a few years ago. They got Gleyber Torres, who they got a couple years out of before I totally lost any faith in him. But then they re-signed Chapman in the offseason. That's what teams should be doing. Teams that are borderline playoffs, trade those free agents. Get something back. You can also, by the way, it's not incomprehensible that you can be a buyer and a seller at the same time. We've seen teams do it. Trade pending free agents and still compete that very year. It's not like you just have to, pump the entire season because if I'm the Padres, 3.5 games out of wild card, you get a chance to get, and Manny Machado has not had a good season. But if the Yankees offer you a couple prospects for Manny Machado, I'm making that deal. You can be under 500 or around 500 without Manny Machado if you're the Padres, for instance. Just for instance. Yankees, I think, are going to be interesting. There's going to be some shortstops available. Francisco Lindor, possibly available. Now, some of these guys aren't having great years, but there's some guys there I would take a shot on. I would take a shot on Lindor. I would take a shot on Willie Adames from the Giants if I'm the Yankees and I want a shortstop. The Yankees have got to think about what they're doing. Is this team, as presently constituted, able to win a World Series? I think they can get to a World Series. I don't know if they can win a World Series. I don't know if they can beat the Dodgers or the Phillies or the Braves. Their pitching is good enough. At least their starting pitching. I'd be looking for somebody for the back of that bullpen. But the lineup's not deep enough. I can't count on Judge coming back. The reports this week when they reimage his ribs is not good. It's not good. Now, don't read too much in the fact that they just moved him to the 60-day disabled list, because he's got almost 60 days on the disabled list now. It doesn't matter. That's just a procedural move to free up space on the 10-day or 15-day or whatever's there. But I don't think he'll be. I said this in the beginning. I didn't expect him back till mid-August at best. September might be the best thought now. Get him back, get a couple weeks of play, and be ready for the playoffs. That's the best case scenario right now for Aaron Judge. And the Yankees shouldn't have to worry about a wild card spot. They still are 5 games clear because the American League is so bad. And the Red Sox now have that last playoff spot right as we speak. He might, Matt. She's 17 years old. She's seen a lot of nightmares here in Yankee Stadium. She was born the year the Yankees last won a World Series. You think about, again, something that I've had guys. My neighbor down the street here who I play golf with, and he might be out there. Tom, hope you're doing well. Hope your wife is doing okay. He asked me if we ever talk NASCAR, and I'm like, I don't. And the only reason I don't bone up on it is nobody has expressed interest in chatting about it. And if you guys or other people start coming into the show and, start to what's Danny posting here? Oh, it's just a show. Where am I? I would make sure that I boned up on the on NASCAR, paid attention to the standings and whatnot, and would have an opinion. So I hope you do. I hope you do a show. You would do it, Brian? Hope you do it, because I'll probably become more vested in it if I see it in my face a little more. We do love BA. Brian does a great job. Through my association with Mac, and I'll just touch on this now because I don't get a chance to chat about it that much, or don't. I've met a lot of people through doing this show. Some great athletes that I interviewed in the early days. And yes, Rick, someday I'll consider doing more. But just people who do this. Mac and Jack. I mean, I started out as a one-shot Friday morning thing. Ended up doing every Friday and Sunday morning with them for 6 years. And through Mac, I met some other guys. I met Jim Jeffcoat and Byron Williams and former NFL players used to be on our Sunday show every week. Or Jim was anyway. And Byron was on Fridays, if I remember right. And became at least long distance friends with them. And Pags. And later on, it was Brian and Sonia. I guess Brian actually came along after Sonia started doing shows on Mac's network. But I met Sonia, and I met Brian, and I met James, and Bo, and and Tip, we don't get to see anymore. I hope Tip comes back to the Wednesday unprofessional professional sports show at some point. I had a lot of fun with Tip. And I chime in on his show every now and again, and Bo's show every now and again. I wish I could watch all the shows, but I'm retired and I don't have time. I'm kidding. I got a better shot the ones that are on in the morning than the ones that are on at night. But I really cherish those friendships. Now I do the show with Jack, keeping that tradition alive. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. So anyway, just throw that out there. Robbie Gordon was a guy. Sterling Martin and Robbie Gordon were the two guys I was thinking about. I didn't realize Kyle Petty ever drove for Coors, though. When I was there, I think I was after I left the beer business, Kyle Petty got involved with him, probably Bill Elliott too. But I remember Sterling Martin and Robbie Gordon, I think were during the time I was still in the beer business. Thank you, Brian. If the Tigers trade Skubal now, want players that are going to make them a World Series contender. Well, that's what should be the aim. I agree 100%. But do you think trading Skubal makes you a World Series contender now? And if you're not going to, well, let me put it to you this way, Brian. Do you see any chance they're re-signing this guy? Is there any chance they're re-signing Skubal? And if they still want to sign him, there's still no reason not to trade him. Because, again, if he's going to hit the free agent market, it doesn't matter whether he's on your team or not. And the question then becomes, do you see yourself – I mean, the team's played well, 8-2 in the last 10. They've gotten to within 6 games of 500. But they always seem to fall back when they make these little runs this year. 3.5 out of the wild card. You see this team as a real World Series contender. Now, the American League's weak. I'll give you that. But is making the playoffs worth keeping Skubal? And again, you'll get the prospects you get. I mean, with the few buyers out there, or the few sellers out there, I would think the price would be pretty high. You'd be able to get a pretty good return for him. Well said. You can be a major seller and a buyer at the same time. Braves have done it very efficiently in the last several years. I'm trying to think of some other teams that have done it, and none of them are coming to my brain, of course, right now. But even if the buyer's a year or two away, Detroit would be foolish to hope and pray on one. I agree. Look, if the Tigers were sitting on top of the American League, with 55 or 60 wins, I could see them standing pat and keeping Skubal. But it just doesn't seem to make sense to me to make a run at the playoffs. And teams do it all the time. I mean, with 6 teams getting in each league, just getting into the playoffs isn't enough. I have to have a realistic chance of winning. And again, I have this argument with Jack a lot. Just because I understand once you get in the playoffs, everybody's got a chance. But your teams don't actually have that much of a better chance of winning as a wild card. They don't. The only teams that have ever won since there's been a wild card are the Marlins in 2003, the Red Sox in 2004, the Angels, the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Nationals. Oh, and the Rangers. And that's how many years? That's 31 years. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. Well, it's not that bad. It's not 50% of the time. Not close. What is that, 20? 20% of the time, wild cards win. That's not enough for me. The odds are you're not going to win a World Series as a wild card. Can. JB, welcome. And I did mean to I had the world's jotted down here, 6 in a row. I like Bradish a lot, by the way. Now, JB, I know you cashed in your chips early, and now you just bought back into the game. Good move. I think I told you not to. I had Baltimore making the playoffs. Where are they staying right now? They're only they're not far out, right? Couple 3 games. 2 games out of the wild card. 3 games under 500. This is the best the Orioles have been since the first week of the season, I think. So welcome, JB. Good to have you with us, by the way. Check out JB's interviews on YouTube. Does a great job. Ran into one of them. I was doing some searching on YouTube the other day, and I ran across, gosh, now I can't remember who it was. Ah, damn it. It's terrible getting old. But a great job, anyway. I tried to tell you not to cash your chips in early, JB. Partly because the American League is so bad. Yankees need at least a bat. I'd be looking for a shortstop. I'd be looking for a catcher, and I'd look for another outfielder because Dominguez hasn't been lighting it up. What's Dominguez doing? 235, 5 homers. Where's Wells is hitting 150 still. Rosario's down to 237. He does have 9 homers. I mean, they've gotten 18 homers out of third base. It's just terrible. Where's Spencer Jones? 233. At this point, I might let the shortstop situation, the third base situation play out. I might say shortstop, catcher, and another outfielder are my priorities. I don't trust any, because right now I've got to go into the trade deadline if I'm Brian Cashman, thinking Aaron Judge is not coming back. I don't see any other way to think. Now, if he comes back, that's a bonus. And quite frankly, by the way, the Yankees shortstop may not be from out of town. It might be George Lombard. Lombard's really started to pick it up in AAA, and we may see him. I said we'd see him in July or August. We've had some debate on the show whether we play short or third base, but we'll see. I think Caballero's shown he should not be the everyday shortstop. He's a really good spark plug. He's good to have in the lineup. But I think he's better when he's playing around town. By the way, he showed some pretty good pop this year with 10 home runs. But I think he's better when he's moving around the diamond. I don't think he's an everyday shortstop. I think we've seen that. Augustin, how are you, my friend? It's good to see you. I was up in the northwest of this country, not in you're in Oregon, if I remember right. We were up in Seattle for a few days and then sailed to Alaska from there. But I love the North. I'd never been to Seattle either, by the way. And Seattle is a much older city than I expected. And it's a lot like San Francisco, built on hills. But it's a fun city. The ballparks, I didn't know, the football and baseball stadium are virtually right next door to each other. And I'll tell you the most amazing thing I saw. We drove by both of them. And there's one parking lot that holds about 100 cars. That's all the parking they have for the stadiums. Everybody's got to get shuttled in from somewhere. Mac inspired Brian to do what he does. And Brian, I got to tell you, Brian, you do some great stuff. I wish I had your talent. especially from a promotion standpoint. You do some great stuff with the promos and the lead-ins and lead-outs, and I just can't do that stuff. I don't have the. I've tried. I've tried to, Danny. I've tried to get AI to help me out, but it can only do so much. It's only as smart as garbage in, garbage out. So, but Brian, you do some great stuff besides hosting the shows, which you do very well, obviously. Some of the stuff that you do from a design, artistic standpoint, amazing stuff, great stuff. Tigers, there's a chance. I mean, if you have a chance, then if you think there's a realistic chance, and I'm not talking about the organization, I'm just talking about the players on the field, right? And the manager. That matters. So forget about what they do. If you think this team has enough, if they made a tweak or two, they're real contenders, and quite frankly, they might be in this American League because, again, it's weak. And some say even training school will start. Well, it's possible. There you go. I mean, they could be a buyer and seller at the same time. See, that's what I would do. If I'm in a Tiger situation where I'm 3.5 still out of wild card, but I'm 6 games under 500, I haven't played well. It's different if I'm 15 over. I look at my team differently. But I look at my team 6 under, still with a shot at making the playoffs. It's not that I would punt the season, but I would still trade Scooble, get a couple guys that can help me in the future, as you talked about, and maybe a guy who can play now and help me maybe still contend for that last playoff spot, because even trading Scooble, they're not going to be out of it. Not with this, not as bad as this American League is. And they're better than when I left, quite frankly. I mean, when I left, I think 4 teams were over 500 in the American League. Where are we now? Maybe it's no better. 1, 2, 3. 3 in the East. Holy crap. That's 5. 6. 6 teams now are 500 in the American League. Gustin's doing well. It's good to have you back, my friend. We haven't seen you in a bit. We'll be back with the College Football Huddle Wednesdays at 7 on August 5th. We'll get back, and there's been some news to catch up on, but we'll have a few weeks to kind of preview the conferences and whatnot. So we'll get back into college football full bore here as we get into the new month. We've had our little sabbatical that we'd like to take in the summer. I used to give me Wednesdays off altogether before we had the professional sports show, but it does give me a little more time to spend with my much better half on Wednesdays. So, but we'll be back on the 8th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back. There you go, Drick. I just said that. We'll be back on the 5th. Unless I have an itch before that. But that would give me 2 more Wednesdays to kind of get my bearings. I got to check what's going on, too, because, geez, you know what? You know what's funny? Oh, maybe we won't do the 5th. I don't know. I'm on a colonoscopy prep on that thing. I golf in the morning, probably in the morning, and then I start my prep in the afternoon. So we could be a start and stop show that day. My plan is the 5th. I guess we'll have to see how that goes. Oh, Brian's got a tremendous sense of humor, by the way. And that's what, you know what? That's what attracts me to people. Jack, although he hides it sometimes, has a really good sense of humor. James, great sense of humor. Sonia, funny, can be hilarious. Sometimes but I think she's very funny. Brian's very funny. Bo's very funny. Tip's very funny. the guys that the people that I've come to know here and enjoy their company. I don't do listen, not doing this for the money. Doing this because I have fun. And if I wasn't having fun, you wouldn't see me on Brian's shows or the McGrath shows. I wouldn't be doing it. I would have stopped doing it. I enjoy doing it with Mac and Jack. That's why I did those shows every Friday and Sunday. And why I continue to do Wednesday and Sunday. I enjoy it. I enjoy the laughs. Wednesday nights especially, because we probably we have some serious shows, but when we have a full roster, things can go off the rails pretty quick because somebody, whether it's me or Bo or James or Brian, somebody takes us off the rails, and it's fun. We're just having fun. I wouldn't do any of these. Guys, I'm have fun with you guys. I don't want to leave you guys out. You guys have a great sense of humor most of the time. Most of the time I do. Even when I'm angry, even when I'm railing on Aaron Boone, I'm railing on Major League Baseball. I like to have a sense of humor. There's some days that I probably don't, but we had a lot of fun. Well, yeah, I mean, there's times where Jack can get testy, but that's fine. I've told him. And Jack, again, if Jack's listening, this isn't anything. It's, we've had conversations about this or that, me or other shows or whatever. And I tell him I'm going to have fun all the time. All the time. If I'm not having fun, I won't be doing this. And I make fun of myself a lot. That's why maybe this is a rationalization, but I've always said that I'm okay having fun at somebody else's expense because there's nobody that I make fun of more than myself. So it's a lot of fun. BA just to pull an Artie Moreno. Otani. I'm not sure the context there. One other thing. Now and again. What didn't I talk about today? What is going on in the WNBA, by the way? They seem, and I was hoping this came up this morning, and we didn't get to it, but they continue to make more news off the floor than on the floor. And again, it's debatable whether no publicity is worse than some of the publicity they're getting. So Sandy, what's her name? Borndello, is that her name? Brondello. Maybe it's Brondello. Has been suspended for saying that Angel Reese is a protected species when a foul got called on one of her players, on Angel Reese. Now, we've heard the same kind of things about Caitlin Clark. When did protected species become a racial comment? I mean, am I missing something here? Is there context I'm missing on? Because she, Angel Reese called her out after the game saying, "Are we surprised?" They said, and I'm not even sure she said that. They said it sounded like protected species. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I don't know the woman. Maybe she is a racist. I don't know. she's from Australia, and she's coached the national team there since 2017. And multiple Native Australians explained to ESPN that the phrase protected species has been used in Australian sports environment to express frustration over a lack of calls against a player, as in the player being treated or officiated differently than others. However, in our culture, it's a phrase that indicates that someone is not human and has a history of derogatory use towards black people. I don't know. Now, I don't get to comment on how that makes somebody who's black feel. But it doesn't feel like that was used. I mean, again, I go back to when ESPN, I can't remember, Dave somebody was a tennis player, a tennis announcer, and he was doing a Venus Williams match, and she was attacking the net as she was wont to do when she was a great player. And he used the term, Venus was using guerrilla tactics. And he was suspended by ESPN. He's never worked another tennis match again in his life. This is almost 30 years ago, 25 years ago. He wasn't making a racial reference. I don't think this woman was necessarily making, now she apologized. Maybe she was making a racial reference. I would not have thought that, listen, I've lived here all my life. Doesn't feel like, if I said that it would have been meant in the context of a racial comment. Now, she apologized afterwards. She goes, Angel, I'm sorry. She had a post on Twitter, I guess, or social media. Angel, I'm sorry. Last night in the emotion in the moment after Naira's injury, I used a phrase that I shouldn't have used. I take full responsibility for that. And my frustration was with the officiating, but my words were unfairly put the focus on you. I understand that my words carry an impact beyond what I intended, particularly for black women in our league, and I'm deeply sorry for that. I spent my entire career competing with and coaching and learning from incredible black women. You know, I wonder if the problem doesn't really lie with the people who take these type of comments out of context. I'm not going to say that there isn't racism in the world today. There obviously still is. It's more covert than overt. I think back in the day, I might have, and again, this is relatively speaking, you might have more respect for an overt racist than a covert one. At least you know where they stood. And I've known plenty. This doesn't feel like a racial comment to me. It feels like something anybody could have said. It feels like something somebody would have said about Caitlin Clark. Brian thinks species was a trigger word, which he has been suspended. That's my example. That's again, I don't believe this woman meant it in any way, shape, or form as a racial epitaph, if you will. I've never heard it used in that context, quite frankly. So maybe I'm sheltered. I don't know. But if it was used against Clayton Clark, I don't think we would have said a word. Yeah, and if she didn't mean it that way, why would she need to apologize for somebody else taking their words out of context? I worry more about the people who who take these things to mean something they don't. I'd wonder about their motives. Cam Young, by the way, is now 9 under, one shot behind Kim. Kim's in the lead. Burns has fallen to 9 under. Cam Young's, I think, got another short putt for a birdie. I don't think she meant it that way. Well, that's the thing. Everybody's offended by words. You know how many times I see on social media that words hurt? Well, they do if they're meant to or used in a context to hurt somebody. But we're offended by everything. Even when there's no offense to be taken, we're offended. This seems to be blown way out of proportion. That's why we're talking about it in the last 10 minutes of the show. I mean, I find it interesting when you look at it in the context of the way Caitlin Clark is treated. It went out when I went out. It went out when we stopped saying it. I have been to doubleheaders when they played real doubleheaders. Is today a split doubleheader or a real doubleheader? Another thing baseball could do better. Play real doubleheaders again. When I was a kid, that's when my dad would take us because we get 2 games for the price of 1. Now we empty the ballpark out and play a second game, except for certain instances. And I should check today's game. And listen, when it comes to the WNBA thing, Adam Silver said it himself that Caitlin Clark has become a political football. We turn everything in this country. It seems whatever we're trying to accomplish, it's positioned that it's being accomplished to disenfranchise a certain group. It could be minorities. It could be illegal aliens. It could be women. I don't think we're targeting anybody. Do I think that decisions get made in life that affect people and can inconvenience a certain group of people in some way? Yeah, without a doubt. But I don't think there's any mass conspiracy to disenfranchise a whole batch of people over whatever topic we're talking about. Anyway, I feel disenfranchised that I don't get real doubleheaders anymore. So we got a game at what? 12:35, and the other game's tonight, I think, isn't it? Yeah. So this isn't a true daily double or doubleheader. Not scheduled either. We don't schedule doubleheaders at all. Species was interesting. Species, I remember that movie. Maybe they should be offended. The species from that movie. I'm trying to remember who was in that. Is that Jamie Lee Curtis? CA? We got about 5 minutes left. I got to find out now. Where's my movie buff? Hold on. Here I am typing again. 1995. Who's the cast of this movie? Ben Kingsley. Man, that's a great cast. Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen, Alfred Molina, who I just saw, by the way, in the Suburbs. It's on Netflix. Really interesting show. It's canceled after one season, but it won't hurt you. Anyway, Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen, Alfred Molina, Forrest Whitaker, Marge Helgenberger, and Natasha Henstridge. I think she was Species, by the way. What a great cast. It's like the debate about Tyler Harrow getting punched in the head. It used to be running your mouth had consequences. Well, see, now you can run them from here, and I don't risk getting punched, right? Because you do it in the anonymity of social media mostly. And if you come face to face with the people that you've been running your mouth about, you got to worry about it. I suppose I got to worry about it if I come across Aaron Boone. By the way, Species had several spinoffs, by the way. It spawned a franchise, Species 2, Species 3, and Species The Awakening. There you go, Brian. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go down to political. We do every now and again. I know we've lost viewers over it, and I apologize. But, well, I don't apologize. I mean, I think I'm entitled to my opinions, just like everybody else is. I have lots. Believe me, you're lucky I don't share them all here. Gary Allen, hello. How are you? Some people at Patty by 11. How are you? Christopher Stewart. Some people that have not commented today, but they've been here that I can see. Because they left some engagement. We appreciate that. Yeah, Tyler Hero. Oh, God. Anyway, Matt, thank you again if you're still there for the cards this week. Once again, here's my new stack of cards. All Patriot. And by the way, Sam Cunningham. Great picture. Who else we got? The great Daryl Stingley. Put in a wheelchair by Jack Tatum in 1977. Or 6. Great pictures. The Mick. Great picture to Mick. Great stuff. That is the best, I'm telling you. Not to mention my Bobby Mercer card and coin. Must have dropped my coin somewhere. I got a bad habit of fidgeting here while I'm chatting, and I lose stuff right and left. So, yeah, everybody have a great day. We're going to wrap it up. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the Jack and Keith's weekend playbook. We've been gone for the last 3 shows, I guess we missed. We'll be back, catch up on everything tomorrow. I'll be on the Unprofessional Professional show on Wednesday. We'll have Jack and Keith again on Friday, the MLB update hopefully on Friday. On August 5th, if the colonoscopy prep doesn't derail me too badly, we'll be back with the college football huddle as well. Thanks for the show fix today. Well, we thank you. 4 cups of coffee. I only got 2 in me. I got to go get another one right now. So you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you at some point this week. See you guys. Bye-bye.